I'm Tamika, and this is Pretty Critical. When it comes to fashion, the question of the moment is the fashion community going to embrace Melania Trump, embrace the conservative right during Trump's second term in office? The American fashion industry has not seen it for Melania. She has been snubbed almost across the board in protests of Trump's policies targeting marginalized people. Now, however, the tide seems to be shifting a little. You're seeing a major fashion house dressing conservative women. You're seeing the national conversation around Trump seeming to shift. When it comes to opposing Trump, people are getting a little more permissive. And it begs the question, is fashion about to flip-flop? Today I'm going to talk about how and why the fashion community snubbed Melania. I'm going to talk about the shift towards Trumpism in the national mainstream. And I'm going to talk a little bit about fashion's progressive and fascist history. I also want to take a look forward at what fashion owes communities and where we go from here. Melania's snubbing starts with Anna Wintour, as many things in fashion do. So she is the editor of US Vogue, which is largely considered the fashion magazine. I have no idea whether I'm talking to fashion people or to politics people right now. If you don't know, she is also a very established Democrat. So in 2016, Vogue actually gave their first ever presidential endorsement, and it was to Hillary Clinton. Obviously, this put her a little bit at odds with the Trumps. And then when Melania came on the scene after Trump was elected, Anna seemingly wanted nothing to do with her. Throughout Trump's first presidency, Anna declined to put her on the cover of Vogue. Now, Melania actually does have a Vogue cover in her past. So back when she married Donald Trump, she got the cover of Vogue. That's a whole different story. That was well before he started his political career. Once he became president, nothing, nada. And it is tradition to have the first lady on the cover of Vogue. We've seen Hillary Clinton, we've seen Jill Biden, we have seen Michelle Obama. When she was asked by The Economist why she had never put Melania on the cover of Vogue, she said, "I think it's important for Vogue to support women who are leading change in this country." And honestly, Anna walks the walk. She walks what she talks. She has been in support of several progressive fashion initiatives aimed at supporting the very same kinds of people that Trump's policies hurt. And designers have followed suit. So in 2017, as Trump was trying to defund Planned Parenthood, full disclosure, I worked for Planned Parenthood at the time, the Council of Fashion Designers of America, spearheaded by designer Tracy Reese, had a program called Fashion Stands with Planned Parenthood. This was during New York Fashion Week. It was over 40 designers and brands. And what they did is they had a pin that said Fashion Stands with Planned Parenthood that everyone was wearing on their clothing. It was also handed out alongside information cards that talked about Planned Parenthood services, what was at stake for patients, and then how people could get involved. And it makes sense, right? Planned Parenthood's patients are largely women and LGBTQ people. Women and LGBTQ people are a large part of what's built fashion from the ground up. So it does make sense that the industry would band together in the face of Trump's policies to support them. Beyond Anna, Melania has also been snubbed by a lot of individual designers. So her stylist has reported being turned away by a major brand on Madison Avenue. When he's trying to dress her for events, he can't go the regular first lady route. A lot of designers aren't willing to donate clothing to her. They're not willing to work with her in a custom capacity. Like, she is having to buy things off the rack. Even for Trump's first inauguration, huge event, tons of press, it was reported that pickings were slim. You know, a lot of designers, Jason Wu, Tom Ford, publicly declared that they had no interest in dressing her. Although some designers like Caroline Herrera, like Tommy Hilfiger, said the exact opposite. Even Tom Brown, that was a tough one for me personally. She ended up being dressed by Ralph Lauren, who's also dressed Hillary Clinton, also dressed Michelle Obama. So it was less partisan, but I mean, Trump is Trump, and Trump was promising to do a lot of awful things, which then came to fruition. And so him dressing her for the inauguration led to people complaining directly to the brand. It led to a hashtag boycott Ralph Lauren. It wasn't the kind of positive publicity one usually gets from dressing a first lady for inauguration. And yet, something about this era just feels different. You know, celebrities are more full-throated in their support of Trump, or like Kim Kardashian posting Melania Trump on her Instagram story, they're like peeking their head around the corner like, Is it safe now? Social media companies are getting more conservative, implementing these regressive policies that are leaving the people of color, the LGBTQ people who work at those organizations and who use their platforms, just putting them at risk, leaving them without protection. People seem more willing to embrace Trump, and people who are on the opposition side seem a little tired of fighting. And more designers are starting to break with Anna Wintour in order to dress conservative political figures. So Usha Vance, she is married to Vice President J.D. Vance. She recently wore Oscar de la Renta, custom Oscar de la Renta. The brand also posted Ivanka Trump wearing their clothes on social media. But when it came to the inauguration, Melania actually wore Adam Lippis, I believe is how you pronounce his name, a small American designer who she's worked with in the past. Now, whether that was out of a lack of options or out of loyalty kind of remains to be seen. Interestingly enough, Adam actually participated in fashion stands with Planned Parenthood back in 2017, displaying this Adam Lippis Stands with Planned Parenthood sign right outside his home, which begs the question, did your politics change or are you just opportunistic to a fault? Now, while fashion does have its progressive side, like let's keep it all the way real, it is notoriously racist, it is notoriously fat-phobic, and at the end of the day, cash is king. That means exploiting immigrants and workers across the globe when it comes to clothing production. That means killing the earth with harmful dyes, with fast fashion. And sometimes that means collaborating with fascists for monetary gain. While people more informed than me have done some really good deep dives on how Trump's tariffs are gonna harm the fashion industry, for some people, for some designers, his deregulation and his tax policy are more than gonna make up for it. Under Trump's presidency, we are going to see weakened labor protections. We are going to see an end to sustainability initiatives, which are both things that save designers money. And while a lot of designers aren't particularly wealthy, those that are going to benefit so greatly when Trump slashes social programs, when he slashes taxes for the 1%. Extracting money from the working class and funneling it up to the richest amongst us, that's what some designers are hoping for. But even looking beyond the Trumps, we see a really dark history when it comes to fashion and fascism. Coco Chanel was arrested by the French government for being a Nazi informant. Hugo Boss dressed members of the SS, and he used forced labor from German prisoners and from people living under the German occupation. Unfortunately, many people will put a stamp of approval on anything as long as there's money to be made or people that have been dehumanized to be heard. And that brings us to what comes next. It is something I've thought about a bit, but it's also a question I'm posing to you. Fashion is a business, yes, but it's also something that people have built community around. Subcultures have popped up around fashion. Collectors and enthusiasts engage with it as an art form, and it's the basis of a lot of people's hobbies and livelihoods. At the end of the day, fashion comes to a screeching halt without the women, the immigrants, and the LGBTQ people that work in the industry and that buy its goods. At the same time, some of those people are conservative, maybe even a lot of those people secretly. You know, they're willing to support Trump because they think his policies will exclude them, or because they think they'll simply grow their wealth. So how do we as a fashion community, as marginalized people and allies, as consumers, react to this tacit and active acceptance of Trump? Boycotts, yes, but also proactive work that helps people in need. Whether or not there's an active organized boycott is your money. You can withhold it from people that don't share your values. You can decide, I don't want my dollar in your pocket because of your ethics, and you can patronize the kinds of designers and brands who share your beliefs. People who are taking a stand, not just verbally, but with their actions. These next 4 years and potentially beyond are gonna put a lot of people in harm's way. So who's giving money so people can eat when food stamps are cut? Who's protesting and sharing resources when trans kids are attacked? Are you? Are your favorite designers? Listen, I am one person and I can't even begin to lay out a plan for how to navigate a descent into fascism, but I do know that we have individual skills and resources that we can bring together as a collective. We have tools that can help people in our vicinity, but also across the country. And we saw it with the LA fires. People want to help. People want to be in service of others. If designers want to get ahead career-wise or just to reveal their contempt for their fellow humans by supporting Trump, like, dump them. There is no dress, no pair of shoes, no runway show that's more important than people's lives.